The galaxy gathered to watch Earth kneel. What they got instead was Commander Dax Valor standing tall, bloodied but unbowed, staring down a tribunal of ancient tyrants with a crooked grin and a plasma blade in hand. "You want submission? You'll choke on it before I'm done." In a hall where laws were weapons and justice was a myth, humanity didn't just fight for survival, they fought to rewrite the rules. The roar of alien voices echoed through the celestial hall of judgment, a cathedral of glass and steel orbiting Tavra 6. Every seat in the tribunal was filled with delegates from the oldest races of the galaxy, their eyes fixed on the lone human figure striding towards the center podium. Commander Dax Valor, scarred and broad-shouldered, didn't flinch under their stares. His boots hit the polished floor with a deliberate rhythm, each step a silent declaration. "I am not here to kneel." The Vorik delegate stood first, his scaled face twisted in a smug grin. Humanity's crimes are not only undeniable, they are grotesque. Millions dead on Kolvar Prime, your sentinels, unleashed like rabid beasts. "What say you, ape?" Valor stopped, his eyes narrowing. "I say you're a damned liar." Gasps rippled across the chamber. Zeltharek, High Archon of the Tribunal, raised a clawed hand. "Order. Commander Valor, you will show respect to this court or face immediate judgment. I'll show respect when I see some." Valor's voice was iron. "You accuse Earth of slaughter, but you forget Kolvar Prime was a battlefield, not a nursery. We didn't start that war. The Vorik did." The Vorik hissed. "Lies. Your machines turned cities to ash." "And what about Titan?" Valor's voice rose, sharp and biting. "We buried 2 million in the ice because your fleets wouldn't stop. Don't preach morality while your hands still drip with blood." Zeltharek slammed his staff, the sound cracking like thunder. "Enough! The tribunal is not a platform for human theatrics. You stand accused. Plead your case or accept your punishment." Valor stepped forward, reaching into the folds of his coat. Every eye tracked his movement. From within, he pulled a small metallic cube, its surface alive with shifting light. He held it high. "This is my case." The chamber buzzed with confusion. Zeltharek leaned forward. "What is that?" "Proof." Valor's grin was cold. "Proof that this trial is a farce. Proof that the Vorik hacked our sentinels, triggered the slaughter themselves. Proof that you, Archon, knew." A hush fell. The cube flickered to life, projecting holographic streams of data into the air. Codes, transmissions, logs. Valor's voice cut through the silence. "We intercepted. Tribunal communications. We decoded the forbidden signal used to override Sentinel protocols. Only someone with access to this court's highest ranks could have used it." A murmur grew, delegates whispering in alarm. The Vorik delegate stepped back, face pale. Zeltharek rose slowly. "These accusations, this data, are fabricated." "You wish." Valor's voice was like a blade. "Run your own analysis. You'll find the truth buried in your archives, unless you've already erased it." The Archon's eyes burned. "Even if your claims held merit, your presence here is under judgment. Earth violated treaties, expanded unlawfully, refused disarmament." Valor's laugh was low, dangerous. "We expanded because you left us no choice. We rose because we refused to die quietly. And now you think you can chain us? You want Earth to kneel, but all you've done is teach us how to fight." "Then fight you shall," Zeltharek's voice thundered. "Do you invoke combat representation?" Valor's eyes gleamed. "I do." The chamber erupted. Aliens shouted, some in shock, others in excitement. Trial by combat was ancient law, nearly forgotten. Zeltharek hesitated, then nodded. "So be it. Korith the Executioner will stand as the Tribunal's champion." The name fell like a hammer. Korith, the Butcher of Velnath, the Terror of the Blood Moons. Valor stood unmoved. "You'll die for your arrogance." Zeltharix sneered. Maybe. Valor's gaze locked with his. But I'll die standing. The tribunal adjourned, the hall buzzing with anticipation. As Valor turned to leave, he passed the Vorak, now trembling with rage. He paused, leaning in close. You picked the wrong species to frame. Outside the hall, Valor's comlink crackled. Commander, you just threw us into the fire. Valor smiled grimly. Good. Let's see who burns. The chamber lights dimmed as Valor stood alone in the center, his breath steady despite the weight of the galaxy pressing down. The arena would be ready soon. He didn't need time to prepare. He needed them to fear what was coming. Zeltharix's voice echoed from above, sharp and full of venom. Commander Valor, under the rules of the Celestial Accord, you have invoked combat representation. Do you accept that should you fall, Earth's fate is sealed and no further petition shall be heard? Valor raised his head, locking eyes with the Archon. I accept, but it won't be me falling. Across the tribunal floor, delegates from 100 systems shifted uncomfortably. Some relished the spectacle, others masked their dread. A human had never stood in the arena before. None believed he would stand long. A deep rumble shook the chamber. Massive doors parted, and Korith the Executioner stepped into view, a monstrous figure clad in blackened armor, eyes burning with cruel anticipation. His hands flexed, each finger tipped with blades. He needed no introduction. His reputation was carved into every planet he had left broken. Valor didn't flinch. Big, ugly, and slow. This'll be quick. Korith growled low, stepping forward, until he loomed above him. You die here, ape. I will crush your bones one at a time, and make your world watch. Valor smirked. Funny, that's what the last guy said. The floor beneath them shifted, lowering into the combat pit. The walls lit up with alien runes, the air humming with power. Above them, the tribunal watched in silence, each pulse of light reflecting their hunger for blood. Begin, Zeltharix commanded. Korith lunged with terrifying speed, a massive fist aimed at Valor's head. Valor ducked, rolled, and slashed low, his plasma blade carving a shallow gash in Korith's thigh. The giant roared, spinning with a backhand that sent Valor sprawling across the floor. You're fast, Korith sneered. But not fast enough. Valor wiped blood from his lip, rising to his feet. Let's find out, Korith charged, but Valor sidestepped, driving his blade into the executioner's side. Sparks flew, but the armor held. Korith's arm came down, hammering Valor's shoulder, cracking bone. Pain lanced through him, but he didn't fall. He twisted free, blade in hand, breathing hard. I expected more, Korith mocked. You bleed so easy. Valor circled him, eyes calculating. I'm just getting started. Korith advanced again, relentless, but Valor moved faster now, each dodge tighter, each strike closer to finding flesh. He was reading him, learning him, turning brute strength into a liability. Every swing from Korith left him more exposed, more predictable. The chamber trembled as Korith slammed a fist into the ground, missing by inches. Valor leapt, driving his blade into Korith's shoulder joint. The armor buckled and Korith howled, ripping the blade free and tossing it aside. You're done! Korith roared, grabbing Valor by the throat, lifting him high. Valor struggled, vision darkening, but his hand reached to his belt. With a flick, he pulled a flash grenade, slamming it into Korith's face. A blast of light exploded, and Korith staggered, blinded. Valor hit the ground hard, gasping, but didn't hesitate. He rolled to his blade, gripped it tight, and surged forward. His first strike took Korith in the knee, dropping him to one leg. The second drove deep into the exposed flesh of his neck. Korith thrashed, but Valor held on, pushing the blade deeper. Face twisted in fury. With a final wrench, he tore the blade free, and Korith collapsed, blood pouring from the wound. Silence filled the chamber. Valor stood over the body, chest heaving, blood on his hands. He looked up at Zeltheric, his voice cold. "Your champion's dead. Now let's finish this." Zeltheric rose, fury barely contained. "This proves nothing. You still stand accused. Earth still stands alone." Valor reached into his coat, pulling another data cube. "No, not alone, and not unarmed." The cube activated, casting streams of tribunal communications into the air. Conversations, plans, secrets, all recorded, all damning. "You tried to silence us," Valor said, his voice rising. "You used us, framed us, and thought we'd roll. Over. But Earth doesn't break. We fight. And now the whole galaxy knows." Delegates shouted, some in outrage, some in fear. The foundation of the tribunal trembled beneath them. Valor stepped forward, voice like steel. "This is over. The tribunal's done." Zeltheric's eyes blazed. "You will be silenced!" The chamber shook again, but not from within. Outside, the void shimmered as Earth's fleet decloaked. Weapons armed, aimed at the tribunal station. Valor smiled grimly. "No, you will!" The silence after Korith's fall was deafening, but Valor's heartbeat roared in his ears, louder than any cheer or gasp from the alien delegates above. He stood there, chest heaving, blade dripping, as Korith's blood pooled at his feet. His left shoulder ached, a deep throb from the brute's crushing blow, but he didn't waver. The tribunal wanted a spectacle. They got a reckoning. Zeltheric didn't rise. He sat stiffly, claws gripping the edges of his throne, his gaze locked on Valor. "You have won the combat, human, but that victory does not absolve Earth of its crimes." Valor wiped the blood from his blade, staring up with a sharp grin. "The fight was never about absolution. It was about truth. And now you'll hear it, whether you like it or not." He turned to the dais where the broadcast nodes pulsed faintly. His voice rang out, clear and defiant. "Play the rest of the data. All of it." "No," Zeltheric barked, rising suddenly. "This court is adjourned." Valor didn't flinch. He raised his hand, signaling. In the corner, unseen till now, a human operative stood, interfacing with the node. The tribunal's feeds surged, lighting up with streams of encrypted files, now broken wide open. Voices echoed across the chamber, tribunal delegates frozen as their own words condemned them. Increase pressure on the border. Human retaliation. Justifies full intervention. The Vorak drones are expendable. Blame their loss on Sentinel failure. Earth's rapid growth threatens our balance. We must act preemptively. The hall erupted in chaos. Alien voices clashed, some in shock, some in rage, others in desperate denial. Zeltheric's command staff rushed forward, but Valor stepped in their path, blade still in hand. "Not another step," he growled. "You've overstepped, Valor," Zeltheric snarled. "This is treason." "Treason?" Valor barked a laugh. "No, this is justice." Delegates from younger races stood now, voices rising. "Is this true?" one shouted. "Have we all been used?" another demanded. Valor pointed to the screens. "You saw it. Your leaders engineered wars to keep you weak, to keep Earth isolated. We weren't the first target, just the first to hit back." Zeltheric raised his hand again, and the guards moved. Valor didn't hesitate. He tapped his comm. "Now." A low hum trembled through the station as every external screen flickered. The blackness of space outside filled with light. Earth's war fleet, hidden in the nebulae of Tovra 6, now stood revealed. Hundreds of ships, bristling with weapons, perfectly arrayed. The tribunal's defense grid flickered, then went dark. "You wanted a trial?" Valor's voice was steel. "You have it. Earth didn't come alone. We came prepared." Zeltheric's eyes widened. "You would risk galactic war?" "You started it." Valor stepped forward. "We're just ending it." A new voice rang out. one of the younger delegates, her tone fierce. "I will not die for your lies, Archon, nor will my people." Another joined. "This tribunal is finished. We choose our own fate." Zeltharic lashed out. "Silence! You are nothing without our order." "No," Valor's voice cut like a blade. "They're free now, thanks to your greed." The tension cracked. Several delegates stormed out. Others stood defiant, breaking ranks. The tribunal was splintering, its grip dissolving before their eyes. Zeltharic turned back, to Valor, desperation bleeding into rage. "This changes nothing. Your kind is still inferior, still savage. You cannot rule." "We don't need to rule," Valor said, eyes hard. "We just need to survive, and now we will, on our terms." "You'll bring chaos. We'll bring choice." Zeltharic's hands shook as he reached for the override console. "I'll kill you before I let this happen." Valor lunged, crossing the chamber in 3 strides. He slammed Zeltharic against the throne, blade at his throat. "No more speeches," Valor hissed. "No more games." Zeltharic froze, eyes wide, breath ragged. "Tell them," Valor growled. Zeltharic's voice broke. "The tribunal was meant to protect balance." "You mean protect power," Valor snapped. "Now speak." Zeltharic looked around, the weight of every eye crushing him. "The charges against Earth are void. The tribunal disbands." Valor released him, stepping back as Zeltharic crumbled into his seat. Valor turned to the assembly, voice firm. "This is your moment. Stand with us, or stand alone." Silence stretched. Then one by one, hands raised, voices called, pledges were made. A new alliance, forged not by fear but by fury. Valor holstered, his blade walking to the center. "Earth doesn't demand obedience, just respect, and we will have it." The hall, once a symbol of control, now echoed with something new, freedom, and the galaxy would never be the same. Zeltharic sat motionless, the weight of the tribunal's collapse crushing down on him. His hands trembled, his claws digging into the cold stone of his throne, but he couldn't speak. Not yet. Valor stood tall before him, battered but unbroken, his presence filling the void left by the crumbling order. Around them, chaos brewed into a new storm, one not controlled by ancient power, but by the fury of the silenced. The younger delegates crowded forward, voices rising with questions, demands, declarations. One, a slender being with iridescent skin, pointed at Zeltharic, eyes ablaze. "We followed you, trusted you. You used us as pawns." "We deserve answers," another shouted. "We deserve justice." Valor's voice silenced them. "You deserve the truth, and it's here." He gestured to the data now looping on. Every display, revealing centuries of manipulation, wars sparked by whispers, alliances destroyed for profit, rebellions crushed before they could rise. The tribunal was never about peace. It was control. Zeltharic finally stood, his voice hollow. "You don't understand what you've done." "I understand perfectly," Valor replied, stepping closer. "You ruled through fear. That ends. Now. This galaxy will tear itself apart without us." "No, it'll finally have the chance to stand on its own." Zeltharic's gaze turned cold. "And what of Earth? You think they'll follow you? You think you're better than us?" "We're not better," Valor said. "We're different. We fought to survive. Now we fight for choice. That's something you never gave them." The Archon sneered. "And if they turn on you? If chaos spreads?" "We'll face it," Valor answered, "because we'd rather face chaos than live as slaves to your order." A flicker of something passed through Zeltharic's eyes, fear, or perhaps realization. "This isn't over. It is for you." Before Zeltharic could respond, a transmission lit the room. Earth's fleet commander appearing in holographic form. Commander, Valor, the fleet stands by. Tribunal defense systems remain offline. Orders? Valor didn't hesitate. Hold position. No fire unless fired upon. The commander nodded and vanished. Valor turned back to the assembly. You've seen the lies. You've seen the truth. Now decide. Stand with Earth, stand for yourselves, or crawl back to the shadows and let others shape your fate. Silence fell as the weight of choice pressed down. Then, one by one, voices rose, not in fear, but in resolve. We stand. For freedom. For a new order. The hall echoed with their cries, a wave crashing over the last remnants of the old regime. Zeltharax slumped, his power gone. Valor stepped onto the central dais. This is no longer the Tribunal. This is the beginning of something better. A new voice emerged from the crowd, firm but curious. And who leads now? Valor met their eyes, unwavering. No one leads alone. We rise together, or not at all. The delegates nodded, the seeds of a fragile alliance taking root. As they spoke among themselves, forming the skeleton of a council. Valor moved to the edge of the hall, activating a private channel. A familiar voice answered, "You did it." Valor allowed himself a breath. "We did, but it's not finished." What now? He looked back at the chamber, alive with possibility. Now we build, now we watch, and if anyone tries to chain us again, we break them. The voice paused. "You sure they're ready?" "No," Valor said, a slight smile tugging at his lips. "But they'll learn. Like we did." The transmission ended, leaving Valor alone for a moment amid the rising tide. The galaxy was changed, not by force, but by fire, truth, and a human unwilling to kneel. The echoes of the tribunals. Fall would spread far, and not all would welcome this new dawn, but Earth had spoken, and the stars would listen. The aftermath of the tribunal's collapse wasn't silence. It was noise, unrelenting and raw. Voices overlapped in arguments, proposals, threats veiled as diplomacy. Dax Valor stood in the heart of it, a man forged in war, now shaping something. No blade could cut. Trust. He didn't ask for leadership, but eyes turned to him, seeking guidance from the one who had stood when others bowed. "You broke their chains," said the delegate from the Sarn Collective, a lithe figure with a voice like iron. "What's next? Who replaces the Tribunal?" Valor didn't blink. "No one replaces them. We don't trade one tyrant for another." "You expect chaos to organize itself?" "I expect you to stop waiting for someone else to tell you how to live." Valor's voice cut through the noise, pulling the assembly back from the edge of another power play. "This isn't about Earth ruling. It's about no one ruling over everyone." A heavy silence followed, not uncertain, but considering. Then the Vorek delegate stepped forward, his scales dulled by the weight of his people's disgrace. "You expect us to forget what's been done? There's blood between us." Valor's eyes didn't waver. "No. You remember. You carry it, like we do. But you decide what you do with it now. We can bury more bones, or we can build something on top of them. You speak as if it's simple. It's not. But it's real." The Vorek hesitated, then gave the smallest nod. Not of surrender, but of agreement. That was enough. Valor turned to the others. "Earth won't dictate your future. We'll stand beside those who want to fight for their own. If you want that, fine. If not, we won't stop you. But understand this. Try to shackle us again, and we'll burn your chains." No cheers followed, no applause. Just understanding. The kind that came after pain, after survival. The kind that didn't need words. As the assembly dissolved into smaller clusters, each species grappling with their new place, Valor moved to the edge of the chamber, opening a secure channel to the fleet. "Situation? Stable, Commander. came the reply. No aggression from remaining Tribunal forces. Do we hold? Valor watched the stars beyond the shattered authority of the Tribunal. Hold for now, but keep eyes sharp. This isn't over. He turned back as footsteps approached. The Sarn delegate again, eyes sharp. You know you've only delayed the next fight. I know, Valor said, but when it comes, we'll be ready. She studied him. You think this new alliance will hold? No, he said. I think it'll be tested. Every day. But that's better than living under a lie. You're dangerous, human. No, just tired of losing. She nodded and walked away, leaving Valor with the stars. He didn't need to win them all over, just enough to tip the balance. The rest would come with time or with fire. A second channel buzzed. Earth Command. Commander, the eyes of the planet are on you. The Council wants to know what's the status. Valor breathed in, slow and steady. The Tribunal's dead. The others are picking up the pieces. Earth stands free. And the price? High, but worth it. Will they follow us? They'll follow themselves. That's all we wanted. There was a pause, then. You've done well, Dax. Come home. He looked out at the galaxy, wide open now, unpredictable and dangerous. Not yet. There's more to settle. He closed the channel, walking back into the fray. The fight for survival was over. Now came the fight for meaning, for peace that wasn't bought by fear. It was messier, slower, and just as necessary. He passed Zeltharic, now a prisoner, guarded but alive. The former Archon didn't speak, didn't lift his head. Valor stopped, looking down at the relic of a dead regime. Could have made it different, he said. Zeltharic's voice was hollow. I made it last. Valor shook his head. And lost everything. He walked on. The hall was no longer a place of judgment but of choice. He wasn't the hero they wanted, just the one who refused to break. That was enough. The galaxy didn't need a savior. It needed someone to show them they could stand. And he had. He stepped through the final doors, the light of distant stars casting shadows behind him. Shadows of a man who changed the course, of empires by refusing to bow. Now, the stars were watching, and Dax Valor walked into them, ready for whatever came next.